Hello and welcome again. My name is Rod Kirby, and I'm hanging out with the one and the only Mr. Jaron Lockridge. How you doing, sir? How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm glad to be here today.
Man, we are talking about your brand new movie, Betray, which thank you so much for a preview, very rough draft, very early version to preview the film. It is awesome. I really, really like it. I think it's one of your best films to date. And man, I can't wait for everyone to just watch it and see what you've done with this amazing story. How are you feeling right now? First of all, let's just get that out the way. How do you feel that the film is finally finished and it's actually on its way to be distributed? How do you feel?
I'm relieved. I'm exhausted, but I'm relieved that I got it behind me, and just kind of anxious to see how it's received, and then see what everybody thinks about it. So it's one of those things, you're relieved, but you're also anxious to see what the audience thinks about your work. So it's just the whole cycle of filmmaking.
Yes. Now, Betray is it's probably I'm trying to think. I've seen a lot of your films, and I think this is probably the most adult film that you've ever produced, and not just in content, but also in theme and story, which is great. I love it. How would you describe Betray in your own words? Would you describe it for those that don't know what it is?
It's a story that's, it's very relatable. Everybody's probably dealt with it or knows somebody who's dealt with it. I believe it would be a relatable story that the audience that connects with it will receive when they see the film. So I'm just kind of anxious to see how that is. It's a remake of actually one of my very first films that I did when I first started my production company in 2015, 16. And that film it's unlisted on YouTube. It's terrible. It's one of the first films that Amazon purged back in the day, but it was a premise that I felt was something that I should have went back to and executed a little better. So that's what I did with this one, and this is how this film came about.
And for those of just joining me, we're talking about Jaron's brand new film, Betray. And here's the premise. You're going to love this. It's about a bored woman who's bored with her marriage. She's an unhappy wife that falls to temptation, which quickly spirals towards a fatal encounter. And that's what we're going to leave it right there. You don't need to know nothing else. Just go watch it because it's going to be amazing. And it's coming out on demand as well as on Vimeo December 8th of this year. Jaron, let's take a look at the trailer for Betray, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So here's the trailer for Betray.
All right.
Hey, you can judge me all you want to, but at the end of the day, you ain't got none of them problems with your man, and you still unhappy.
I can't cope with these feelings I'm feeling. Inside.
So you really gonna act like you ain't been in Florida this whole time with a female?
I'm so damn frustrated. Been thinking lately of the side. There was someone new sleeping in my bed. I was set up by the dude she was creeping with. Sometimes I wanna shoot that hole. These sleepless nights I'm pacing, can't rest until she's faded. Sometimes I wanna shoot that hole. These sleepless nights I'm pacing, I can't rest until she's faded. Sometimes I wanna shoot that hole.
Yes, sir. Love that. Oh man, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
And who did the theme song on that?
It's actually a lot of stuff I incorporated in this movie is from my hometown, a small town called Bolivar. It's Trilogy is the name of the group, and the actual artist who's singing that is actually in Betray. He's doing a live performance.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was just one of those songs. When I remembered it, I was like, man, that'll fit the theme of this movie to a T. So I just Yeah, I included it on the trailer.
Love it. And Betray, of course, it stars Miss Shy Reeves as well as Mr. Jeremy. And God, man, a lot of your favorite people that you've been working with lately in this film.
Yeah.
What was it like working with this talented cast?
It was pretty good. It's one of those films that the type of content that it involves, and the vision that I had for the project, it was important to cast properly. So,
Right.
Jeremy Shaw, he was in the original that I did way back, and he heard about me remaking this one, and he wanted to be a part of it. But I knew before I told him yes and gave him that green light that the character for Candace had to be cast right.
Right.
I needed that role. I'm so used on previous projects where it may be a little intimacy involved. When we get to set, it's an issue. So I'm having to change up the script or do something differently to suit that certain actress or actor or whoever. And I had this conversation with Shy, and she was submitted for it, and let her know, like, hey, this is type of content that's going on. I love to have that conversation with them ahead of time. I don't want them to go in and she read she was she read the script and she was like, oh yeah, and it's I love actors with strong nonverbal, like they can speak with their eyes, and I knew I had to get that role locked first. And when she agreed to do the role, and then everything else just fell into place, and I knew her, and by that, that role being so vulnerable, I knew her and Jalen had great chemistry from working together before.
Yeah.
So I when Dion came about, he submitted for that one as well. And that just felt like a match made right there. Like I wanted that chemistry to be, obvious from the start. So Jalen came in there, and then that's when I gave Jeremy the okay to, you can come back and redo the role of Joelle. And Timberly, she kind of submitted late for the role, but when she sent her self-tape in, I was like, okay, that's gonna be Stephanie. So everything just kind of fell in place with the cast, and I believe that it brought my vision across the way I wanted it to.
Wow. Well, let's take a look at some behind the scenes steals from the film. And while we're looking at that, just want you to let us know what was going on in that scene, or any thoughts that you have from that scene. Any tidbits you can share with us from behind the scenes would be awesome. Of course, if there's any fights or anything, which I'm sure there wasn't, but whatever you can share with us would be cool.
Okay.
So here you are, Mr. Jeff and Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy and Jeff Haltom. We're in that part is the character in this movie, Jeremy's character, Joel, is an ex-NBA player. He's a player that's kind of fell on hard times, nothing but injuries, and never saw his career through, but he still wants to be a part of the game. And in this particular scene, an old coach of his at the school he used to play for, taking him out to see how he likes recruiting. So they're going to recruit a player that plays for this high school, and I was able to get my son that I'm hiding in the background involved, and get him a little cameo in there as a high school recruit, and it was a fun scene to shoot in the movie.
That's awesome, man. And I know you and Jeff go way back to a lot of your older films as well. Man. How's it working with Jeff?
Jeff is my guy, man. He's one of those actors that just loves to act, no ego whatsoever. I mean, I can tell him I need you to be an extra, and Jeff is going to be there. And wherever I go or however far this career goes, Jeff is one of those actors that is going to always be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we have Miss Dominique is playing. I believe she's playing his
Danielle.
Yeah, his Danielle. That's right. Which would be his co-worker, who may become something a bit more later in the film.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Look at those eyes, looking devious. Yeah,
this scene here is one of those scenes later in the film after an incident happens, and she comes up and speaks to Joel about it, and just try to make sure everything's okay. And it's one of those scenes where it kind of puts a nugget for the audience that they may see a little bit later on.
Planting seeds is what I like to say. So when you were filming this, you often work with a skeleton crew. Not necessarily because you want to, but because of necessity, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen you've been posting a lot lately that you've been incorporating your son and getting other family members involved. How's it working with family? Just your wife? I know this is a co-production with her.
Yeah.
How's it working with them?
Well, it's a work in progress. I'll put it that way. When you're used to working by yourself for so long, it's hard to let go of things, and that's what I'm trying to learn, is how to let go of certain things. And where my wife comes in, she helps me with the scheduling part now. I don't have to worry about that part behind the scenes at all. So she's totally taken that off of my plate, and that's helped a lot. But like on set, I move so fast, so I kind of already have this system that works for me to kind of keep things going. It's no waiting around, twiddling fingers and all this and that. Usually when we get there, we mic the actors, light the actors, go through blocking, and then we're ready to shoot. So we're usually, going pretty quickly. And my wife on this particular film, she worked as the AD and script supervisor. So whenever somebody needed a line read, she was right there to help out with that. And I had my little system with the way I do things, and it just moved seamlessly. And whenever I need something moved, I need something brought over, my sons were there to help. So it's a skeleton crew a lot of times, mostly because of budget. But we made it work.
That's awesome, man. Here we have, I believe it's they got home afternoon. Miss Shy there got home, and she's talking to Joel. And in the background, is that your wife or someone else?
Yes, that's my wife back there. She's got the script in her hand right there as we're going through that particular scene. And this is a scene when he comes home to let her know that, hey, I'm thinking about doing this recruiting thing. He has an incident where he's told at the beginning of the film that you might not play ball anymore. And deep inside, she's kind of happy about it, because she's at a point to where she's tired of him being away, playing overseas, doing this and that, wants him home more. So this dinner scene started out as kind of throwing up a little disagreement they had earlier, letting that smooth over. Let's have a happy dinner together. She thinks happier times are ahead, and then he hits her with boom. I'm thinking about going out on the road recruiting, and she doesn't like that too much.
In her mind, she's been betrayed. That's awesome, man. And I want to ask you, whose house is that? House is gorgeous.
Oh, it's actually his name is Nick Donald. He gave us the free for all to use at home, and I appreciate him. Anytime, this is one of those films where I believe it took us 14 days to shoot it, and this is like one of the only times, honestly, that I've had a place where, hey, film, take all the time you need, and that makes so much difference, because you can light, you can do so much more when you don't feel rushed, and when you find people like that allow you to come in and use a actual residence. This is where you live, so it's a personal space, and you have to be cognizant of that and respect that as well. But when they let you come in and they trust you enough to use their home, I'm super appreciative of that. So I thank Nick for letting us use this beautiful home. And I mean, it made a huge difference in the movie, because you can see that production value with this home.
And it's almost like the production design was already kind of set, because the house it's amazing. It's great. Oh yeah. And a lot of the vision, because when I wrote the script, I had this scene where Shy's character Candace was in the tub sipping wine, and it was almost
perfect. I mean, it was perfect. And I said I couldn't have, I didn't have to change the scene or nothing at all. It just was perfect to the way that house was laid out. So a lot of things worked right for once shooting this movie.
It's a big relief in it. Just like it's finally come together.
No, didn't have to mess up anything and change anything, and so that was good for once.
Fantastic. And here we have Miss Timberly, who's playing Candace's best friend, who I call her the messy shopkeeper. And I had a chance to talk to Timberly, and she loved being on the set. She loved working with you, and just had a lot to say about how efficient you are at your craft. How was it working with Timberly? Because this is your first time working with her, right?
Yeah, this is my first time working with her. She was amazing. Amazing to work with. She wasn't hard to direct, nothing at all. She asked questions when she needed to ask questions, and everything just ran smoothly with her. And one thing, especially when I write for certain people, I like to see what they do with the character instead of, if it's something specific that I need, I'll let them know. But a lot of times I like to see what they bring to the character. And if I like it, I'll let them, roll with it. If I don't, we'll make that correction. And when she came with Stephanie, she brought her own twist and a way to it. And I felt like, that's a great contrast from her friend. So she brought a whole different spirit to that character that maybe necessarily wasn't directly as written. Stephanie in the script had the spice and everything, but Timberly brought her own taste to it, and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, there's some spice there. Some spice there. I ain't gonna say much, but yes.
Yeah.
It's spice in a good way. It adds that flavor that you want to the film. Now, tell me about this club. I think this was is this in Memphis? This location?
Yeah, I believe you've been there before. K3.
K3 Cafe, right?
Yeah, cafe. We I had 2 live performances, and I knew when I was trying to think of a place to have that, I thought about K3, and it worked perfect. The lighting and everything was perfect in there, and it made those things pop.
What was it like working with a small crowd of extras? Wrangling them and getting them to be on when they're on camera and to just chill when they're not on camera.
They were actually a great group. I'm usually sometimes nervous, especially when it's a whole bunch of extras, because you just don't know. But that was a great group. I've been doing this for years, and I think it was 2 time slots for different sets of extras. And if they wanted to stay for both time slots, I told them to bring a change of clothing. But I believe I had for the first time slot maybe 40 signed up, and as you can see, maybe 10 or 12 actually came through. And I'm used to that. I've had that before, where I in Down Bad, where I had this club scene, and all these people said they were coming, and very few showed up, so I ended up having to write it and add a line in there for Shy's character, actually, to say something like, "Man, it's dead in here." But I was able to make that work and make it seem like it was a nice little crowd in there for the performances, and I believe it worked out well for the movie.
Yeah, it looked really good, man. Really good. Yeah. Of course, we have Mr. Jalen Moffitt and Timberly Hope. Yeah. Jalen's playing a character who, when I talked to him during his interview, I told him that, ladies and gentlemen, you have to watch your ladies around this guy, because he's Mr. Steal your wife. He don't care. Driving around in his girlfriend's car, picking her up, and always late.
Yeah, always.
Mr. Dion there, but I loved his character, and I loved the interaction that he had with Timberly, with Stephanie, as well as with Shy, of course.
Yeah. Jalen brought. He was, when I cast him, I told him, Dion, I want to for inspiration for his character, the serpent in Genesis.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So when he came on set, he brought that sneakiness. He brought that, to that character, and I believe he nailed it. He nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely did. And that's the crew there.
Yeah. So Jeremy and Keetrick Copeland.
Yeah, you've always worked with Keetrick
Yeah.
for a long time. How far y'all go back?
My first time working with Keetrick, I believe, was a movie I did called Smith,
Mhm.
and then we worked again together on a Succuba. So this is actually my third time, I believe, working with Keetrick. But one thing about Keetrick stays in Denver, Colorado, I believe, and he's so dedicated to his craft. I mean, it's nowhere where he won't go. He'll jump on a plane at any time. And when I first found out he stayed in Denver, I was like, bro, all of my budget goes to paying my actors. That's why my crew's so small. So if I got a $6,000 budget, $6,000 is mostly going to paying my actors.
Right.
I'm like, man, plane tickets back and forth. And he's like, man, don't worry about that. I got that taken care of. I got a smooth gig to where there's nothing I have to worry about. And I was like, all right, man, cool. Hey, that works out for me. So yeah, man, he's a dedicated actor. He's so easy to work with, and he's so professional, always on time, and I enjoy working with him.
All right, this scene, I know, this is not to spoil too much of the film, but this is I'm going to call it a heart-to-heart between their characters. They're just talking about some things that's been going on in their marriage, and things are kind of coming to a head.
Yeah.
But here again, we have this beautiful home from Mr. Nick. Thank you, Nick, for blessing Mr. Jaron with the house. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What was it like because this was shot during the nighttime, right? So, I mean, you said you had plenty of time and space, but what was it like shooting versus the daytime with them? Was it, was the energy there still? Were they still involved in the characters, or was it a little different?
Yeah, this is actually daytime on the scene.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean the actual the scene itself is a night scene, but it's actually daytime while we're filming it because it was, I believe that was one of our longer days, and I didn't want to wait another 2 to 3 hours because this is summertime, so it's getting dark like 8:30.
Yeah.
So we're I was like, man, let's just darken the windows, make it dark. Try to it's a scene from when they come in the front door. So I totally missed that front door and had them just walk from off camera into it. And I added the sound of the door closing to kind of make it seem like they came in the door. And that's just all in camera and lighting and blocking and just to make that look nice. And it came across pretty good on camera. That scene is, like you said, them talking about a specific moment at a pretty sticky time in their marriage. And one thing about Jeremy in the original, he had this scene where I tried to recreate it, where he kind of had this come to Jesus with the Candace character in that film, and I just told him, look, just put this in your mind, and just go for it. And and he did pretty well on that scene. So that's one of the key moments in the movie right there after the climax.
Yeah. Mr. J. Moffat looking like the devil himself with those sneaky eyes.
Serpent.
Looking like a serpent.
But yeah, he played that role to a T. I mean, he gave me I wanted him to bring that sexiness. I wanted him to bring that, that because his whole job in this movie is just being sneaky. He's just one of those guys that he's up to no good, and it, but he keeps on trying. He's just persistent in what he's doing. And, like I said earlier, I just brought to him, like the serpent in Genesis. He just kept being persuasive until he finally got what he wanted, and that's Dion's character to a T, and he did an excellent job bringing that character to life.
Like I said, fellas, watch your wise around this guy.
Watch him all day.
Watch him all day long.
Yeah.
And that face, Timberly said she kept giving that face to Jalen. He's like, that's the face there.
She was hard on Jalen on set between takes.
I heard they got into a checking battle.
Oh yeah, she was on him. She was on him. Kimberly was so much fun on set, and it's me. I love, especially with a film like this, you want to have fun on set, and with this crew, we had a lot of fun on set. Yeah, it was a good time.
It's Miss Shad looking like she's contemplating life decisions here.
Yeah, and she brought that character to life. Shy had actually, you know, the part of the film, the climax and everything that depended so much on her, she wasn't feeling good at all. And a lot of that portion in the movie, we ended up having to cut out some scenes because she just was at a point to where we didn't know if she was going to make it through the day. And it was a day that we had to have. It was our last scheduled day, our last time having access to that location where we were at. And, you know, I was kind of terrified that, man, we're not going to make this day. We're going to have to reschedule it far off because I had another movie, The Stick, scheduled after this. So it was kind of one of those do or die moments. And she was like, look, we're going to do this movie. Look, we're going to do it. And she was a soldier and made it through those scenes. And you couldn't even tell, like, she wasn't feeling maybe even 50%. And she pushed through and made that character come through. So I have to acknowledge her for that, because we were thinking about, man, we're just gonna have to postpone this because she can't do it. And she was like, look, we're not doing that. We're gonna make it through this scene. And I love that, you know, professionalism, especially when it comes to indie sets, that, you know, no matter what, we're gonna persist and get this film done. And I appreciate that. Yeah.
Going back real quick, I don't think you told me this, but what was the inspiration behind the film? What made you decide to write this story at this time in your life?
Well, at this point, when something about that old film, for some reason, used to always come up. Everybody used to, hey, what's about that Betray film? What you end up doing with that? And like, it's one of those movies that, you know, it's one of my very first, and I've grown vastly as a filmmaker from 2016 to now. And everybody would, you know, here locally would mention the movie, and it got to the point where, you know, it's on YouTube. I got it unlisted for the actors. I don't want to hide the work just in case they want to go back and look at it, but I cannot watch that movie. Like, it's so bad to me. But I felt like it was a good premise that I could go back to and kind of correct, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of remake that movie. Now that I've grown and gotten so much more experience as a filmmaker, that I felt like I can make it actually a good movie now. And, you know, that first movie, you know, we made that in 4 days. Terrible decision. Ended up having to cut so many pages just because we could not get it done. And it ended up in like 50 minutes. So this one, you know, slower, actually saw my vision through with that experience behind me. And I just feel like I made a better movie. So it was just a point where I felt there was a good idea that I didn't execute properly at the time. Just came back to the drawing board and tried it again. And I think we did a good job seeing this one through.
Yeah, definitely, man. That was training ground. That's what that was. You know, you know, it's always rough seeing your first stuff, but you know, when you look back at it, it's like, you know what, you did pretty good, man.
Yeah,
you did good.
Appreciate it.
So what's next for you? I know we got the Sticks universe and everything that's going on with that. So, you know, kind of give us an update on the Sticks and whatever else you have cooking. I know you always got something going on in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm trying to. The Sticks, we've finished that. It's actually in post-production now that I got Betray off my plate. But I'm kind of going into this thing where, you know, I kind of see where content is going. You know, you got to have an audience for your content. There's so much stuff out there that you need to feed an audience. And hopefully with Betray, I can start to have an audience for that type of movie. And my plan is to have Betray as a series. Betray 1. This is Betray 1, of course. And then Betray 2, which is same theme, same premise, you know, same romantic thriller type of movie, but totally different storyline and different things. They're, you know, other than theme, they're not related, but they're just, you know, in that same thing, and have, you know, keep that going as far as a series. And where the Sticks, is kind of, I'm building my own universe where those films are connected. You might see some of the same characters overlap in different films and stuff like that, and in that crime genre type series. So Sticks at one point was my most successful project. I actually have people looking forward to that project. So I'm just trying to make, projects that have an audience ready for, that we just just continue to feed. So I just kind of see where the industry's going and trying to build off of that.
It's fantastic, man. Well, shoot, best of luck on all that. I know you're going to be successful, and I know that you are just, honestly, you're just getting started, dude. You've been in the game for 25, 30, 40, 50 years, and you're just getting started. You're kind of like Drake, trying to say, Drake of the indie film world.
I feel like, I'm just at a point to where I feel like I know what I'm doing. So, like a lot of these, like Betray and Down Bad and stuff like that, I feel like I'm starting to hit that stretch to where, all right, I'm going to start putting out some pretty decent content. To whereas, I know how to make a film with the limited resources I got. I know how to maximize them and make something that comes out pretty good on the other side. So I feel like, even though I've been doing it a couple of years, this is where people get to know what type of filmmaker I am. Yeah. Wow.
And you want to share any words of wisdom for any other filmmakers that may be watching that want to not necessarily match your output, because I don't think anybody can match your output, but just definitely get their own creative stories and their own films out. What word of advice would you give them?
I would say one hard lesson that I've learned is this is a business. Everybody wants to make money, but at the end of the day, what'll keep you doing it is even when it gets hard, is doing something that you're passionate about. So make the type of movie that you're passionate about, not the movie you think would be profitable or whatever. So if that movie isn't profitable, you don't feel like you wasted your time because you did something you were passionate about. And just always be a student. Always look for ways to be better than you were. Even if you think you're good already, you can always be better. So just always be open to learning and improving your craft, and never quit. It's about the best advice I can give anybody. It's so cliche, but just keep going. Be consistent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Jaron, thank you so much, man, for hanging out with me on today. For everyone that's watching, Betray will be out on demand December 8th. It's coming very, very soon. You can go to misguidedperceptions.net to stay up to date on all the things that Jaron is working on, which is a lot as usual. Jaron, any final thoughts to the audience that you want to share?
No, I just hope that everybody tunes in to watch Betray. Like you said, it'll be out December 8th on my website, Amazon, Tubi, Vudu, all of the other platforms as they license it. I'm not sure when, but for sure December 8th. And just keep an eye out for more projects, like the page on Facebook, Betray Movie Series. And, just stay tuned on further projects that are coming within this little genre.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much, everyone. We will see you later, and be sure to watch Betray when it hits. You're going to love it. Peace out. We'll see you next time.